Hello and welcome to the International Society for Physical Activity and Health podcast. Our first podcast series is a rapid fire series on ISPA's councils and networks. It's time to get into our podcast for today with your host, Matthew Teppy McLaughlin. Okay, I'm here today with Dr. Terry Boyle, who's the lead for the Epidemiology Council. How are we doing, Terry?
Hi, good. Thanks, Teppy. Thanks for having me.
No, that's good. Good. Glad you're here. So start us off, just tell us a little bit about the Epidemiology Council and who you are and what you do.
Yeah, sure. So the Epidemiology Council is a relatively new council. We formed in 2019. I think the main aim of our main aim is to promote awareness and knowledge of contemporary causal inference methods and quantitative bias assessment methods among researchers working in the kind of general area of physical activity epidemiology. And I guess we think that some of these newer methods, particularly in the causal inference space, have probably been underutilized a bit in physical activity epidemiology. So we thought it would be a good idea to set up a council to try and increase understanding of some of these methods so people can understand what's going on with them when they read papers which have used them, as well as apply them to their own research.
So have you had some ISPA members involved in any of those activities so far?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have a couple of projects underway. The first is called the Physical Activity Cohort Study Repository, or PACE for short. It's a nice, short, snappy acronym. And that's kind of our flagship project, which it's probably been going on since the beginning of the year, I think. And really the aim of that project is to create a central database of cohort studies which have prospectively collected data on physical activity and or sedentary behaviour, either self-report or via some kind of device-based method at 2 or more time points. And yes, the ultimate end product of that project will be a database located on the ISPA website, which people will be able to go in and look at, to search and find studies which have measured a physical activity or sedentary behaviour at 2 or more time points, and they'll have all the details of that study and links to.
Well, that sounds like a really interesting member benefit that people will be able to go and have a look at, and once that's up and running.
Yeah.
Is there a timeline for when that's expected?
I think we're hoping by the end of the year at this point. Yeah, but it depends. I think we've had about I can't remember the exact number. I think we've had about 10 or 12 of our members volunteering in that project, and they've done really enthusiastic and have done an amazing job. So it's quite a big task. So going through lots of records in Covidence to your screening and then some data. We're at that data extraction point now, so it's been a huge amount of work for everyone involved in that.
That's great. And you said there was a second project that's on the go?
Yeah, one of a newer project is where we're looking at not quite as big as that one, but also quite big. So we're looking at basically doing a review to describe current practice in selection of confounders in studies which aim to look at the association, or which aim to estimate the causal association between physical activity or sedentary behaviour and some kind of health outcome. So we really want to know, what are the current practices for how people choose confounders in their studies in physical activity epidemiology at the moment.
So I'm sure in the future there's going to be many more of these little big projects that so you're on a continuous basis, people can join the Epidemiology Council?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And like that, they're just 2 studies which we've got going on at the moment. And yeah, I think there's definite potential for members to get involved in these projects.
Great. I mean, plenty going on, plenty to join in with, and I'm sure there's a lot for the future. Thanks for joining us today, Terry.
That's all right. No worries, Teppy.
Well, that brings us to the end of today's podcast. But if you haven't done so already, I'll encourage you to subscribe to your favourite podcast channel The International Society for Physical Activity and Health podcast is available on all of the leading podcast channels, including Apple, Spotify, Google. If you've got an idea for a podcast, you can send that through to info@ispar.org. Thank you very much for listening, and we hope you can join us on our podcast again soon.